All right, so what we're doing in this video today is we're starting off chapter 8, and before we do chapter 8 we should have a review of just proportions, because there's not a lot of proportions that have been solved so far this year so in geometry. So let's go ahead and just solve them so we know. Let's not use black, let's use blue this time. So a ratio is just a fraction. It compares two things, okay? But you're just going to have to deal with working with fractions. All right, a proportion is when you have two equal fractions. And so here we're going to determine if these ratios are equal. And so the best thing to do is just actually find in the calculator what is 2 divided by 5. Make sure you do top divided by bottom, and 2 divided by 5 is 0.4. And now I'm going to do the next one, 26 divided by 65. That is also 0.4. So because those two fractions turn into decimals that are equals, this is a yes. Okay, so let's do this next one. Top divided by bottom, so 7 divided by 3 is 2.33. Keep going. And then top divided by bottom, 35 divided by 14 is 2.5. Those numbers are not the same, so those are not proportional. Okay, so just find out what the decimal answer is and see if they're the same, but just remember to do top divided by bottom. Okay, so now to solve, I do not solve using cross multiplication because it just causes more issues. I just say, okay, we got it. We have an x, and we need to get x by itself. Well, if I drew my line down here, to get rid of a divide by 8, I'm going to multiply by 8. And so what this becomes is 5 times 8, which is 40, divided by 3. Now you can leave your answer like that, or you can type it in the calculator and find the decimal. And that is 13.33. Both of those answers work. Depends on what you want to leave it as. Okay, so for this one, my problem is that x is on the bottom, and I can't solve for things on the bottom. So what I do is I'm going to flip them. So if I flip the right to get x over 8, then I also must flip the right. Oops, I said flip the right. If I flip the left, then I must flip the right. Now you have a problem you should be able to do. It's just like the previous one. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take a second and to get rid of that divide by 8 to see what you get. Okay, so you should have multiplied by 8. And so 22 times 8 is 176 divided by 12. And so it's 14.67. Either of those answers would work. Okay, I'd like you to look at this next one. I'm going to have you get started on the first step. I still got to get rid of the x plus 3. I got that x up there. But what I need to do is you need to get rid of this 4 first. So go ahead and get rid of that 4. And I would find a decimal answer for this one if it needs to be. So go ahead and do that. And when you have it, press play so that you can see the next step. So you should have multiplied by 4. Now when I multiply by 4, I don't actually do anything to the top. My goal was to get rid of the bottom. And so I just cross it off. So now I have x plus 3. 7 times 4 was 28, divided by 2, which is 14. And now you have a one-step equation you should be able to do. To get rid of a plus 3, you minus 3, and so x is 11. All right, I'd like you to try number 6 on your own. So if you notice, it's upside down. So you're going to have to do what we did in problem number 4, which is flip both sides. And then you're going to solve it like we did number 5. So go ahead and try solving the problem, and then press play when you're ready. So hit pause now. Okay, so you should have flipped them. So I got 4 over 5 is equal to x minus 1 over 3. I need to get rid of a divide by 3, so I multiply by 3. And so what I get is I get 12 over 5. Now, because I still have to do something over here, I have this x minus 1 still. I'm going to find out what that is as a decimal. So I'm going to do 12 divided by 5, which is 2.4. Now, even though it's a decimal, it's still okay. To get rid of a -1, I add 1. And so my answer is 3.4. Okay? Did you get that? Good. Good job. If not, go back and look at it again. See what you did wrong or see if you understand it now. Okay, now this one's tricky because I have x's on both sides. So when I have x's on both sides, I'm going to have to do this a little differently. I have to get rid of this divide by. So to get rid of a divide by 5, I multiply by 5. And that crosses off. What happens here, though, is I can't cross off a 5 and a 4. So I have to multiply that 5 by both things. I'm distributing it. So I get 5x minus 15 over 4 is equal to x plus 1. Okay, so that's the first step. Now I'm going to do that same process here to get rid of the 4. To get rid of a divide by 4, I multiply by 4. And here, they cross off, but over here, they won't cross off, so I have to distribute that. And so now I have a 5x minus 15 equals 4x plus 4. Now I'm just going to solve it. Got to get my x's on the same side, so I'm going to minus 4x. So where did I go? And so I get 1x minus 15 is 4. I'm going to add 15 to both sides. And so I get x is 19. Okay? So it looks hard, but that's as bad as it's going to get. If you have to do it, just do it one step at a time. And remember, on the fraction that you're not getting rid of, so like I got rid of the 5 right here. Over here, because I wasn't getting rid of the 5, I have to distribute. Okay? So just take your time, do each one, and you should be okay. Don't get thrown off by fractions. Remember, you can get rid of a fraction by getting rid of a divide, which is by multiplying.